A very important hypothesis is the customer segment hypothesis. So you very likely started out with a value proposition or value hypothesis, but this value proposition really only works if you also are considering a very specific segment. Yeah? Because usually there is a match between the segment and the value you can generate for that segment. And what you need to consider when you define that hypothesis is, what are the characteristics of that segment? So how can you describe it? How can you define it? And usually there is two ways into defining that customer segment and the related hypothesis. One is a top-down perspective. So there you would start with a very big market and then have certain characteristics that help you really breaking down and creating a funnel so that in the end you really end up with that fragment of the segment that is most interesting to you. So in the literature that's usually called the total addressable market, the served addressable market, and then the beachhead market. And that's the usual funnel with the big numbers. That's top down. Another approach is bottom up. So especially if you are still on developing ideas and just carving out your business model, then it might be more interesting to think of individual cases of customers, even individual people, and why they would be interested in what you're doing and what their specific characteristics are, and also what their specific decision pathways are. So this will help you a lot, this bottom-up perspective, in really also framing and developing your prototype and figuring out what types of questions you would like to ask those people. So overall, that bottom-up approach helps you also to really define that customer segment hypothesis, because what it will be is you will have certain characteristics of the customers. You will have a strategy what you do about those characteristics and how you satisfy that type of a person with your prototype.